Prepping for your first international motorcycle adventure can be daunting, but it doesn't have to be. Welcome to World Ready. In this series, I'm walking you through every stage of the process, from mindset and money, and things like bike prep and what to do when things go wrong. I'm going to share all of my knowledge and experience with you to help you finally take on that motorcycle adventure you've always dreamed of. We're going to start things off with mindset. I think that's the most important thing out of everything, and reducing fear, whether that's mechanical, financial, medical, like the what ifs, the fear of the unknown. Before we get started, this episode is sponsored by Moto. Moto is the best app to use when you're trying to navigate a new area. You want to find the best roads? Use Moto, baby. Point A to point B, it'll find the twistiest roads for you, rated ones from other users. If you're in a different country, you can just load all this up and have a damn fantastic time. So give it a try right now. Download the app, use code Feelz30, and that'll give you a 30-day free trial of the premium membership. You can go there and you can explore, you can see how it works in the country that you're going to, look at different maps from other people, see what they've put in, see what they've rated. It's such a handy tool to use. And if you want 10% off that premium subscription, use code Feelz10, and that'll do exactly that for that year. Enjoy it. I want you guys to get a pen, bit of paper, and write down why. W-H-Y, big question mark, boom. I want you to write down what you want out of this trip. Why are you doing this? For me personally, I wanted to get out of my comfort zone. I like to push my boundaries, see the world, and grow from my experiences. Write it down. This is super important as your first stepping stone because this is what is going to motivate you through the preparation of this whole trip. It's the motivator. Next is the expectation. How do you want this trip to go? Do you want a full-blown adventure where you're going to be going out on the trails, you're going to be camping out in the wilderness heaps? Or do you want it to be a nice chilled tarmac ride where you stay at accommodation every night, nice cool showers, and you're only doing, 50 to 100 kilometers a day? For me personally, the motorcycle adventures I go on aren't holidays. They're quite a lot of work. There's a lot of prep and they're quite exhausting. I get back home and 3 days at least, I need to just rest and recover. Okay, mindset, you've got your why, you've got your motivation, you've got your reason behind all of this. The next step. How much money do you need to bring on a trip? Well, that's all dependent on where you're going, how long you're going for, and how you want this trip to go. The 4 biggest expenses on a trip is accommodation, food, fuel, flights. Living in Australia, for me to do an international tour, it's always better for me to just fly out and get a bike when I'm over there. If you have the luxury of being able to ride through multiple countries to get to your destination, I'm so jealous. So if that's the case, then delete the flights, gas, food, and accommodation. They're your 3 massive ones. When it comes to saving money for a trip, I set up a roundup account so that when I spend anything on my card, let's just say the thing I'm buying is $1.05, then $2 gets deducted from my account. I pay the merchant $1.05, 95 cents goes into that holiday fund. You barely notice it. You have no idea that the money is even going into that account. You kind of just forget about it. And then I also trickle in $5 a day, every day. So if you plan a trip for 2 years' time, I know it may seem like a long way away, but time flies, man. And before you know it, it's gonna be here. You'll have enough money to be comfortable. And then during that time of saving up for the 2 years is where you're gonna be working on yourself in preparation for that trip. So the length of time you're going away is dependent on your budget. For me, I like to camp out every now and then. I can do 3 nights in a row before I need to charge up my gear and do clothes washing and all that sort of stuff. Those 3 nights total could be $0 or it could be under $50, So super cheap. If I'm gonna be staying somewhere, it might just be a little motel or it might be somewhere fancy. I treat myself at least once every trip, just the nice, But most of the time, I don't spend big money on the accommodation because it's just a killer. I'm only there to really have a shower, repack some stuff, maybe charge some stuff, and head back out again, just as a nice little rejuvenation. It's good for the brain as well, and obviously good for the body to have a good night rest. When it comes to food, avoid eating at expensive cafes and restaurants. Check out the little guys, check out the street food vendors, make sure they look clean and stuff like that, you don't get sick. Or go to grocer, pack your protein bars, pack some snacks, pack a little lunch, all that grocery stuff, just like you would be at home, just saves so much money, man. And it all adds up when you're heading out. So make sure you just have a little daily budget, maybe it's $100, and just work to that budget. Gas, it's crazy how much it varies country to country. In Italy, when I was at Lake Como, the gas there is almost $4 a litre Australian. So filling up the Desert X, that cost me $40 Australian, which blows my mind. In Australia, it's like 20 bucks. It's always different. So make sure you know the fuel prices, where you're going. Some places even increase the rate that they charge depending on where you are in their country. And then as for flights, book early and make sure that you have a decent luggage limit. But we'll get into more of that next episode. So underneath that why, I want you to write down all the fears, things that might be holding you back from taking this adventure. Fear, it gets reduced with preparation. If you're worried you're going to be in the middle of nowhere, you're going to get lost, or you might injure yourself and need an evac, then take a satellite phone with you, or a PLB, a personal location beacon, and reduce that fear. I don't know how to change a tire. What if I get it flat? Learn how to change a tire. What if I come off and I cut myself real bad? Bring a medikit. I don't know how to use a medikit. Learn how to use a medikit. It's literally reducing the stress, the anxiety, by learning about the thing you're afraid of. Ask friends, ask family, anyone that's gone to that specific country, what their experiences were. There are so many YouTube videos. Do research and reduce the fears that you have. Being an auto electrician by trade, years ago, I've still got all this knowledge on mechanical and electrical systems on motorcycles and cars. So for me personally, mechanical stuff is always fine. It's the other things that I sort of like to prepare for. Now, next to all of these fears, write down the resolution. How can you overcome these fears? These resolution ideas are what you need to execute while you're saving up for this trip. And oh man, you're gonna come out of it feeling like you're ready to take on the world. So you've got the preparation done, and now you're out on the road and something happens. This is one of those what if moments. This is the challenge. Now with challenge equals growth. So this is your time to shine. This is what you prepared for.
1, 2, 3. Ah!
Now in the moment, you might think, damn it, this sucks. I shouldn't have done this trip. What am I doing here? Like, what am I supposed to do? What it all pretty much comes down to at this point is how you handle the situation. It'll force you into critical thinking, and you'll come out of it with experience and confidence. And remember that every challenge ends up being a great story. And I have plenty of memories and stories that I can look back now and smile on.
How awesome is this?
One of which was when I was out in outback New South Wales. It was during lockdown. I was on my Around the Backyard tour. We found ourselves on a dirt road in the middle of absolute nowhere, man. No cars, no nothing.
We've had mud, we've had dust, we've had sand. Oh God, it's getting heavy. The water's really, really thick.
Everything was slopping about. I was overloaded, dropped the bike a few times. On the second or third drop, I snapped the shift shaft inside the gearbox.
Did you break your gear lever? Is the gear lever broken? Are you stuck in gear though? Alright, you're gonna have to make it out of here in a second.
So now my gear lever is just dangling down. Luckily, it was stuck in second gear. We get ourselves out of that mess, but now what? Thankfully, I had Nick with me. He helped with the logistics. He pretty much found accommodation pretty nearby. We're in the middle of nowhere in a town that's pretty high in crime. Like that big Fort Knox gate just always stays closed. Every glass door, every door has roll-up shutters for when they close up at night. Thankfully, the people that took us in, the accommodation, they let us know about everything. They locked up the gates. They told us to hide the bikes. And then the next day, it was go time. How do I get myself out of this situation?
Just trying to accept that this is happening, because this is like, it's too early. It's too early. It just sucks, man. I can't believe they just snapped like that.
Pulled the whole bike apart, laid my scrambler, man. Like, this is my scrambler. Laid it on its side under a tree. It was like a 35, 40 degree day. Pulled the engine cover off, pulled all the clutch plates out, got to the basket, couldn't crack that nut. I just wanted to get it into third gear or fourth gear so I could just at least ride it home. I was thinking of just putting the bike on the train, calling the trip short. It was like our 5th or 6th day out of the 2-week trip. But then we decided to call a mechanic that was like 3 or 4 hours away. He said he'd meet up with us super early in the morning, chuck the bike on the back, and they just bush mechanic that thing, welded the shift shaft back together, and we were back on our trip again.
Backyard tour continues, baby!
At the time, I was so stressed. I was upset about, the brands that helped out. I was sad for Nick because he took time off work, and I was sad for myself that I wasn't going to be able to complete this amazing trip that we had planned. It was a bit of a climactic point of the series that I filmed because that was a massive struggle and a turn of events that we ended up succeeding in. And the tour continued, and it was fantastic. So when challenges happen, they're not necessarily a bad thing. It gets you in the right mindset. And now if something like that happens again, it's okay. I've prepared for it, I've got experience in that, and I'm ready to take on the next challenge. And then boom, you're growing, baby. The reality of it all. I've gone on adventures and had some serious reality checks. Know how you ride. If you're an aggressive rider, if you're always tailgating, if you're always looking to overtake and just, you should try to dial that back a little bit and be a little bit more patient. Different countries have different rules, different drivers, animals, debris, things falling off the back of trucks. You know how you are on-road and you know how you are off-road. If you're not so great off-road and there's quite a bit of off-roading to do, I can't stress enough how important it is to have at least 6 months of off-roading knowledge and skills. So if something happens, you know how to stop properly, you know how to counterbalance properly, you know how to do the things to get yourself out of that situation. There was a time I was in the Himalayas. One of the people from the group, she hadn't ridden very much off-road. We're up a big cliff, switchbacks galore. She locked up and she panicked, whiskey throttled, and man, she went straight off the edge. She fell pretty far, and it was a miracle, like a damn miracle, that she was able to walk or was alive. That was a massive reality check. For me personally, I'd rather not be in the Himalayas stuck in a hospital and a painful flight all the way back to Australia. It's a long flight. Know what skills you have and what you need to work on. Write that down on your little page as well. That's serious. That's some serious stuff, man. Don't get hurt, and try not to hurt others as well. That's just such a massive, massive one. Ride to your abilities. And if you're going with friends as well, just let them know where your weaknesses are. If I ride with a group of people, I just put my hand up straight away and say, I struggle with uphills. And it's not like they're gonna give you a hard time. They'll probably help you through it, and then you'll learn more and you might end up coming out of it a better rider, but you most likely will. And now that pro tip, have an emergency fund. Enough for you to get home from wherever you are. When I snapped that shift shaft, I dipped into my emergency fund when we had to book a few nights of accommodation extra that wasn't on the plan. I didn't budget for it. Emergency fund, man. Ooh, you'll thank me later. Now that you know you've got your head in the right place and that you can afford this adventure, you need a vehicle that can actually make the distance. In the next episode, I'm going to show you exactly how to map out your trip and a few tips and tricks about motorcycle maintenance so that it doesn't leave you stranded in the middle of nowhere. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on that. Thank you so much, Kelly Moto, for sponsoring this episode, and I'll see you guys then. Peace.